But Chris and Judy really came to see the country. From savannah to rainforest, to the huge underground lava tubes at Undara. There were waterfalls, walks along the promenades of tropical cities, views over rivers entering the sea, and beaches, miles of beaches often deserted. Unfortunately, Chris and Judy weren't always persuaded it was safe to swim. We're not certain that the deadly marine stingers knew that it was winter. They did find their way to the very tip of the Australian mainland. Even then they kept going, to visit a couple of the islands, briefly at least, in the Torres Strait to the north of Australia. But the road was always waiting. Sometimes there were items of interest, sometimes the area was so flat and devoid of features that one place was as good as another to stop for the morning tea break. It wasn't really a lost city, but Chris and Judy occasionally had their doubts. Judy developed a fascination with rocky outcrops. And both Chris and Judy enjoyed a couple of occasions when they could find time to visit underground caverns. There were the improbable tropical surrounds of the Mataranka hot springs, and a creek where if you dug a hole deep enough, you had a hot bath. It was the gorge country, many different places, many different sizes.
It's not really capturing the colour.
The best gorges, of course, were those with water at the bottom.
I wouldn't know it was Judy at the front. I wouldn't know it was you at the front on the video.
Some gorges were impressively narrow.
Oh, now he tells us.
Others were simply huge. In the remote areas there were plenty of small creeks with waterfalls where travellers gathered to wash off the dust and the sweat. Foolish backpackers courted quadriplegia leaping into rocky pools.
You leave the strand on your camera.
And Kakadu National Park, with plenty of water in the billabongs just at the beginning of the dry season. The desert and Devil's Marbles.
Yeah, that's fine. I can certainly see the size. Across the moon plains it will be absolutely flat, absolutely nothing. Coming onto the breakaways.
Hacked up, abandoned mining areas of Kubapidi and the dangerous unmarked pits. The interesting, if grubby little town of Kubapidi and its opal mines, where even the latest upmarket developments are dug into hills, and the road to Lake Eyre. Right.
15 kilometres from the lake edge. Looking back initially towards William Creek.
Lonely graves from abandoned cattle stations. Lonely graves from abandoned trading posts on the coast. And the graves of travellers who just died on the track. Both in the last couple of centuries, in the last couple of decades. Wreckage from aircraft that crashed here in World War II. An abandoned radar post where people spent months and years isolated. Forts, at least now restored. Overgrown fighting posts on Horn Island waiting for an invasion that never came in World War II. Wreckage on the Woomera rocket range from the Cold War era. Abandoned mines. And modern ones. Away from their family. Back towns still sporting a range of hotels. But as the world gets older, towns adapting to the tourist trade, with the Qantas Founders Museum at Longreach. And the Stockman's Hall of Fame. And someday we'll all be together once more, when all of the ships come back to the shore, and I realize something that I've always known. I still call Australia home. Some towns attempted attractions that were just plain quirky. That I've always known. Many of the local clubs still offered a very good feed. And Mareeba had a magnificently comprehensive coffee museum. Judy paid some attention to the various espresso machines. But the free samples of coffee were extremely attractive. And both Chris and Judy really stocked up on the free chocolate. Or free if you paid to get in. Some of the northern coastal communities still found it easier to land supplies across the beaches from landing barges. And there were small but very good quality museums in the fossil belts of Queensland.